Hey folks, I'm about to read a resolution that we've submitted for tomorrow's City Council meeting. The first piece of email, before I read this, the first piece of email I got back after this appeared on the record was an email saying that maybe this type of thing should be reserved for Ferguson. Maybe this isn't an issue in Cambridge that we should talk about in this way, harking to the death of Michael Brown. Now, do we have structural inequality problems in Cambridge?
Yes!
Should we be talking about injustice everywhere because it affects justice here?
Yes!
I'm going to read the policy resolution. And I hope that, I'll speak louder, and I hope that you'll reach out to your city councilors so that they know that passing this tomorrow means something to all of us here in Cambridge. Whereas on August 9th, 2014, Michael Brown, an 18-year-old unarmed black man, was fatally shot by Darren Wilson, a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. And whereas the circumstances of the shooting were disputed immediately and civil unrest, nonviolent demonstrations and riots began the following day, continuing throughout the month of August 2014 in Ferguson, with demonstrations of solidarity erupting across the globe. And whereas the grand jury later declined to indict Wilson on Monday, November 24th, 2014, and international demonstrations began again emerging, pressing for justice and accountability to honor Mike Brown. And whereas on March 4th, 2015, the Department of Justice announced the findings of its civil rights investigation into Ferguson and found that the Ferguson Police Department engaged in a pattern of misconduct that violates the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. And whereas the Department of Justice found direct evidence of racial bias and stereotyping of African Americans by certain FPD and municipal court officials as a result of systematic and intentional discrimination, and that these practices are borne disproportionately by African Americans. And whereas Mike Brown's legacy lives on as it continues to ignite a movement that is needed now more than ever, as every 28 hours, a black man, woman, or child is murdered in the United States of America by police or vigilante law enforcement. And whereas Black Lives Matter Cambridge and the city of Cambridge recognize that July was the deadliest month of 2015 so far for killings by police after registering 118 fatalities, according to the Guardian's ongoing investigation, The Counted, which now projects that U.S. law enforcement is on course to kill more than 1,150 people this year. And whereas in this time of renewed focus on the challenges of racism and violence and on action for peace and justice, we remember and celebrate the life of Michael Brown. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council declare Sunday, August 9th, and refer to it as Mike Brown Day in the city of Cambridge, and that the organizers of Ferguson Action and the Black Lives Matter Cambridge chapter will receive suitably engrossed copies of this proclamation. And be it further resolved that the Council supports the Black Lives Matter movement's goal of working towards a world where black lives are no longer systematically and intentionally targeted, and that the conversation around Black Lives Matter should include all of the ways in which black people are intentionally left powerless at the hands of the state. Does that sound like something that came from me? It's about jobs. It's about community. It's about community engagement. It's about naming the structural inequality, the inequity, and the problems we have. And it's about convening in this way until those problems are solved. And until those problems are solved, I hope that Black Lives Matter Cambridge will be pressing us, putting good legislation into our hands, putting good opportunities for convening into our public squares, and keeping us honest as politicians, as leaders, as residents, and as people who are zealous in a cause towards equity.